Water, water everywhere. Shellfish growers and fishermen rely on healthy waters in the Puget Sound to bring us our world-famous seafood.
What you see here is an old dock. Well, our oyster house used to sit right on that.
Okay. Years ago, the waters of Dungeness Bay were threatened by pollution, putting local shellfish growers out of business. Kurt Grinnell of the Jamestown's Clallam Tribe watched firsthand as the bay deteriorated.
The tribe's been out here with an oyster farm for decades, and over time it got to where we could not harvest at different parts of the year, and then it finally closed out completely. So we completely lost our oyster business out here, and it put a lot of people out of work.
The pollution that was endangering the bay came from many different sources and is called Nonpoint pollution. The local conservation district and Clallam Tribe stepped in to help save the bay. Clallam Conservation District Supervisor Matt Hines is part of that team.
Because it's non-point pollution, it's rather tough to zero in on exactly what the problem is, but there were some obvious things. Irrigation ditches were taking surface water and transporting it to the bay. So what we decided to do was put those irrigation ditches into pipe, so they no longer are fast tracking that pollution to the bay. And then we also moved into the hobby farms. People come out and they want their little hobby farm, so teaching those folks how to manage that farm so manure and pasture management doesn't lead to more runoff into waterways that lead to the bay. Another thing that's brand new to the district is now we're cost sharing with failing septic systems, because there are some of these houses, especially in the Dungeness area, are older houses, and so they were steel tanks. Steel tanks rot out, rust out, so cost sharing it's working well, and it's getting some of the septics all cleaned up.
The Conservation District brought together tribal members, farmers, and homeowners to improve the bay voluntarily, and the voluntary approach is working. More than 1,200 acres of shellfish harvest area in the bay has been upgraded, and that's a huge improvement.
The approved areas and the conditionally approved areas are gaining acreage, taking away from the prohibited acreage, which is an upgrade.
That's what you want.
That's what we want.
The Conservation District's approach includes voluntary solutions for landowners, not forceful regulations.
Their goal is to help guide people in a better direction for the natural resources without any fear to the private landowner of a fine or a penalty.
Regional Manager Shauna Joy works for the Washington State Conservation Commission, a state agency that helped fund the Conservation District's work in Dungeness Bay. She says preserving the shellfish area of the Puget Sound is a high priority for the state.
It's very important. It's a high priority locally, but the Conservation Commission's partnered with the governor to make healthy shellfish and recovering our shellfish growing beds, which are reliant on clean water, a high priority.
So this is an ongoing thing.
Yes, it's going to take a lot of work into the future. More and more population comes into the Puget Sound region. It's a beautiful place to live, and those pressures on the environment, we have to continuously work to address those.
Keep up the good work.
We'll do the best we can.
I know.